Across America, challenging times continue as we head into the final 50-day stretch before Election Day. But this Sunday morning, no threat is more imminent than what is happening on the West Coast, with at least 33 dead and dozens more missing. There are 62 large fires burning in California, Oregon, and Washington state. More than 5 million acres have burned, thousands of homes have been destroyed, and once again, the hardest hit are the underserved communities. We begin this morning with Oregon's Governor Kate Brown joining us from her home in Salem. Good morning to you, Governor.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
We have seen reports that at least 10 people have died, dozens are missing. State officials are warning of a potential mass fatality event. When will you have these fires under control?
Well, the good news is that the weather has stabilized. Just to give your viewers a perspective about what's happening on the ground, about every year for the last 10 years, we burn about 500,000 acres. This year, this week alone, we've burned over 1 million acres of beautiful Oregon. We've got fires on the coast. We've got fires in communities right abutting our metropolitan areas, and Southern Oregon has been devastated. We've had over 40,000 Oregonians who've had to evacuate, and we have 500,000 Oregonians who are on some level of evacuation status. So these have been devastating. As I said, the good news is that the weather is stabilizing, and it gives our hardworking firefighters an opportunity to go out and be proactive and build containment lines.
Do you have clarity yet on how the fires started?
No, that'll be investigated over the days and weeks ahead. But I have to tell you, we saw the perfect firestorm. We saw incredible winds. We saw very cold, hot temperatures. And of course, we have a landscape that has seen 30 years of drought. This is truly the bellwether for climate change on the West Coast. And this is a wake-up call for all of us that we have got to do everything in our power to tackle climate change.
Governor, I understand that's your conviction. I know a former Oregon lawmaker has written an op-ed in the Washington Post, though, saying you can't blame climate change. Instead, it's a failure of your state government to prepare, and that warnings were ignored regarding mismanagement of Oregon's forests. What is your response to that?
Well, I stood up a fire council about 2.5 years ago. Folks came together, Republicans, Democrats, to tackle the issues. The council had an extensive report and called for extensive investments in our communities, harvesting and thinning. Unfortunately, the Republicans walked away from the legislative session, and we were unable to get that done. But I would say this, it's both. It's decades of mismanagement of our forests in this country, and it is the failure to tackle climate change. We need to do both, and we can.
We now know, because of these fires all along the West Coast, that Oregon has the worst air quality in the world. How are you keeping residents and your firefighters safe from this health threat and COVID at the same time?
So we stood up our COVID modules early on. We were obviously aware that this could be a challenging fire season, and our Oregon Health Authority, our Department of Forestry, and our state fire marshal office came together early to develop these COVID modules. We've had thousands of firefighters helping fight fire in Oregon the past several weeks. The good news is, so far, we've seen no incidences of COVID. They've had to basically recreate our entire firefighting systems, and they've done a phenomenal job. And doing that while working extremely hard, taking heroic efforts to save the lives of Oregonians across the state.
You've had thousands of people have to evacuate, some potentially left homeless. Your state is one of those automatically sending ballots to voters at their home address. So how is this going to affect voting in the upcoming election?
I just have to say, I was at the state fairgrounds yesterday. I met Red Cross volunteers. One of them, Brandy, she had to evacuate her family before she could come to work for the Red Cross. I met a couple who had also been evacuated. They were paying it forward. They were helping their fellow Oregonians by serving food and volunteering at the state fairgrounds. So Oregonians have done a phenomenal job helping out, stepping up for each other like we always do. In
Will they be
terms
able
of
to
voting,
vote? Yep. Go ahead.
in terms of voting, we're the first state in the country to be vote by mail. We have systems in place. I'm confident that our Secretary of State is working hard as we speak to make sure that every eligible Oregonian gets a ballot, and we'll make sure they have the opportunity to participate in this election. In Oregon,
person,
we
if
believe
needed.
that your vote is your voice, and every single voice matters.
And in person if needed, to be clear.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We continue to allow folks to vote in person if needed.
Wonderful. Governor, thank you very much for your time and good luck to you.